Hey everyone, I'm Amanda from Mandy Lynn Plans. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to talk about how and why I decided to test out this spiral binding on a Hobonichi Avec. But before we do that, I'm going to explain why I have a 2017, because I know those questions will come up. So I was not introduced to Hobonichi this early. But whenever I wanted to start playing around with stickers, I got in a buy-sell trade group and asked if anybody had an old one that I could just test stickers out in. So you'll see if I just flip through, a lot of this is just me testing out stickers and seeing how they fit in the different spreads and things. And there was some writing in this whenever I bought it, but not a ton. And so I got it for a really good deal. But why did I want to test out this? So this is the main purpose of this video. So if you are familiar with Hobonichi and you are following along in the Facebook groups, you will know that the 2020 release is a big thing to be talking about right now. The new planners and covers will be available to buy in just a couple of weeks, and they released a new version of Hobonichi called the Day Free. Now, what that means, they have both the A5 size and the A6 size, which is about half of the A5. And similar to the Cousin, except instead of having the dated daily pages, it will be mostly just a blank graph page. Now, what I assumed whenever I first heard about it is that it would be similar to the pages in this blank notebook that they released earlier this year. I thought they were just going to basically use the same paper and throw it in the back of the book, but that is not what they did. They have the quote still at the bottom, but instead of this little calendar, since it is day free, it doesn't have this, and so this is grid paper at the top, and it doesn't have this little square here. It has a little flip book, so if you flip through the whole thing, you know, those little things that change per day, and you can see a little character, a little story moving, which is fine. Okay, yeah, I get it. I would really rather do without this. Like maybe I could make that work, right? Because I don't go by the dates anyway. So I thought that maybe might work for me. However, the biggest problem that I have with the Day Free is that they do not have these weekly spreads. I live and breathe by these weekly spreads. This is my meat and potatoes of this planner, and so without this, I am not interested. Also, like I said, I would really prefer to not have the quotes at the bottom, but that part in itself wasn't a deal breaker. Another thing that is a deal breaker is whenever I saw that they only have 171 of these blank pages in the back in this A5 size. There are a few more in the A6 size, but I'm not really an A6 size planner, and so I wasn't really super interested in that anyway. So my brain got turning, and I started thinking about, you know, if I could design the perfect planner for me, what would it be? Well, I would leave everything at the beginning here the same. I would leave the yearly overview pages. I love those for my school schedule. These pages here, I love the monthlies, I love the weeklies, and I could do without the dated, but I decided that I would stay in an Avec. Just as it is, and I would not try the Day Free, but I wondered if I could somehow kind of get the best of both worlds and have my bullet journaling in this plain notebook, but I really don't want to carry two notebooks. I love having everything in one notebook. It is huge for me to be able to just carry around everything that I need is in here. I've even started doing my music planning in here, and I'll talk a little bit about that more in a future video, but literally everything is in this one book, and I just take it with me, and I love that right now. I have taken books like this, sorry, not books like this. I have done this two previous books that I've owned in the past. So some of my cookbooks, I have taken them to Office Max or Office Depot and asked them to do this so they'll lay flat. Some of the really large cookbooks that I have don't lay flat on their own, and there's nothing more frustrating when you're trying to make a recipe than having to open your book all the time because it won't stay open and it wants to close. So I've done this before. It's pretty cheap. I took this to Office Depot and I had 3 color options. This one is navy. I don't know if you can tell. I also had the option to do white or black binding, and it was literally like $4. They cut off the spine and they added the holes and just bound it for me really easily. And so what I wondered is if I could combine two things that I love into one magical unicorn planner. So I wondered about taking the first half of this book and adding in some of these pages. And I'm sure that they could do it. What I thought about is going in with binder clips and saying, okay, the pages that are here in this binder clip and this amount of pages in a binder clip, I want you to put into one book and use this front and back cover. Because to be honest, I absolutely cannot stand this yellow cover. But that would solve that issue, right? If I could combine it into one and just still use this. And so that's kind of what I was thinking. But I did not want to buy an Avec and then combine it and end up hating it and having to buy a whole nother one and waste all that money. So I had this sitting around that I was using for testing stickers, and I was like, I could just try this out and I can, use it for a couple weeks and see what I think, because there are some things that I automatically knew that I would not like about what I've done. So a couple of things, if you have ever planned in a planner like this before, I came from an Erin Condren before I started bullet journaling, and one of the things that I really don't like about that is how the pages are kind of shifted. So just the nature of the coil, because it is spiral, your pages are not, they don't perfectly line up. They're like this. So my stickers, even though they would be straight, they would be not. Also the obvious, writing on Wednesday or even Tuesday with a coil here is not my favorite. One of the reasons I absolutely love the Hobonichi as is because it does open and lay flat. So I knew that that would be probably the biggest thing to get over. However, I love being able to do this. It takes up half the space on my table, and so that was a little bit more appealing to me. If you flip it like this, the coil isn't as obnoxious to write on because it kind of pushes the bottom, helps push up these pages, and so there's not as big of a size difference. And so that was appealing to me. Whenever I go to do my daily pages, my daily to-dos, it would be really easy to just open it up and keep it open the entire day. I don't keep my planner open the entire day right now as is. It just takes up too much space. Another thing I was concerned about was because the paper is so thin, I wondered if this process would be too taxing on it, if the pages would get ripped or buckle from under the pressure. I don't know how they do this process, but it is very cleanly cut. There are, no marks of a struggle, basically. It's very well done. So that being said, I could probably get away with this if I wanted to try, it for my full-time planning, except for something that I forgot to consider. So whenever you have this done, obviously they have to cut the binding first. So they already cut a little bit of the pages off, but then they also have to make the holes. They punch the holes, and so you're losing quite a bit of your space. I thought that it would be fine. There's already a pretty good sized gap in between the pages, but as you can see, the holes punched right through these stickers. Now my stickers, I like my stickers to go past the grid, but you can tell on a page that doesn't have any stickers that it does cut into the grid. And so any of my labels or things that I wanted to put here wouldn't fit anymore. And that is a deal breaker for me. So the weekly is that way, and then also the monthly as well. I think I have March. Oh, here's February. So you can see the issue. Now this one isn't quite as bad, but it does still do it a little bit, you can tell. So I am really glad that I tested this out on a planner that I hardly spent any money on to see if this would work for me. But I am not going to be doing what I originally thought. I'm not going to be combining two planners into one. I think that it would give me the absolute planner piece that my heart desires. The Hobonichi Cousin Avec is the closest thing on the market right now for my needs. I'm perfectly fine ignoring the dates and covering up the quotes with washi and things. But I think that every single planner out there, if we're honest with ourselves, always has one, maybe two things that we live with. Obviously, if we were designing our own planner, we could make it exactly how we wanted it, but then every other person in the planner world would have, oh, if they would have just done this one thing differently, I would absolutely love it. And so that's one thing that I think that we all need to remember whenever we see all these new planners being released this time of year. There's absolutely no way to please everybody, and we just need to find the closest thing that works for us. So it is definitely usable and still my preferred planner, so I will continue using the Avec as I have, and I will not be combining. But this book is not going to go to waste. I am excited to use this in my office for my to-dos when I'm working in the shop. Right now, I just write all my things on sticky notes. So what I do is write my kind of big to-dos for the day in my planner. I might say film a video or design stickers, and I can cross it off. But in my office, I like to have every single step written out so that I can cross off each one as I go, because there are a lot of sub steps in each big step, if that makes sense. I don't want to take up too much room in my daily planner, and so I don't list them all out there, but I like to do it on a sticky note. But I'm excited to have this to be able to do that with now instead. Now you might be saying, Amanda, you've had this planner, why haven't you been doing this before? Well, my office is not very big, and my desk has a lot of things, and this takes up twice as much room on my desk as this does. And that might seem like a really silly difference, but it's gonna make a huge difference. And this really is going to help me in my productivity for when I am working on shop or YouTube things. So I'm really excited to have this out on my desk. I am going to be able to pull out my vanishing point and use it with this. This does not work well on sticky notes. Obviously, American paper is not the best for fountain pens, and I haven't been using it with my planner because my Midori MD notebook cover pen holder is not big enough for this, and I haven't been taking the time to swap out my inks every single week. If you've noticed a lack of ink of the week videos, that is why I can't carry this with me. I don't have a good way of securely bringing it with me. I know that they have like single pen holders and things. This is just a very expensive pen, and I do not want to lose it. So I am going to just keep it home, and I'm going to keep it with this on my desk and use this as is. So I am very excited about this little experiment that I've done. I have not actually put it into use yet. I am filming this the day that I got this back from Office Depot. I am excited to use it. I am also excited that I tried something new, and I had an idea and a solution that I thought might work, and I tested it out, and I decided that it wasn't going to work, and I'm very glad that I did. So go ahead and leave a comment telling me down below if this is something that you will try, if you just maybe want to coil the one that you have, or if you want to try combining two different ones. I will say that if I didn't use stickers, I would probably do my original plan, but my stickers get in the way of the coil, or the coil gets in the way of my stickers. So that's a deal breaker for me, but it might not be for you. Maybe you don't use stickers and you think that I'm silly for that being the deal breaker. Let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time.